Hi there, welcome to Homekeepers. Come right on in, my friends. How are you today? So good to be with you. At Church Sunday, I was in the ladies' restroom. You know how ladies go to the restroom after church. And there were some ladies in there and said, appreciate the show. You know, I didn't know who they were or anything, but boy, that means a lot. It really means a lot. So whoever we run into you, we want you to know that we appreciate just the fact that you watch. And also for those of you who write to us and email us and all, we're kind of just one big sorority. But of course, we let guys in too. So anyway, thank you for all of that. And we have a return guest today, a talented writer, Debora Coty. You might remember her. She's been on a program a few times. And she's written the Too Blessed to Be Stressed series. And these books are so beautiful, the covers and everything on them, and you will spot them. Sometimes you'll see them in airports and places like that. We're going to talk about her newest book, Too Blessed to Be Stressed for Moms. How many moms out there feel stressed from time to time? Well, she kind of hits this running, and Lord doesn't want you to live stressed all the time. So that's what we're going to talk about, but also we're going to do a couple of recipes out of her cookbook, which we have offered on this show many times. And I want to tell you something about it. It's the Too Blessed to Be Stressed cookbook. But I want to tell you something about it. And I talked about it to her earlier. The great variety, but this cookbook, like many others, unlike many others, and if you could come in my office and you see row after row of cookbooks, this cookbook is very interesting because she tested, I believe she said she tested every recipe twice, but they all come in under a 20-minute time limit. And the ones that she has picked to do here so far have been very good. I highly recommend the book. Today we're going to do a couple of, we call them hors d'oeuvres, but she calls them munchies. I think hors d'oeuvres is a little classier, but she wrote the book, so if she wants to call them munchies, that's fine. I'm going to join her in just a second, but before I do, I want to offer you that cookbook again. A lot of you have already purchased it. We've offered it many times. It's one of the best bargains you'll have for a $20 gift to the program. You can use a credit card. That 800 number is for that purpose, 1-800-229-0059. Or write to Homekeepers at Box 6922, Clearwater, Florida, 33718. And we'll get it out to you. And the recipes we're doing today are from this wonderful cookbook. And we have one right here. And Debora is here, the writer, the founder. Now, I noticed you had other people submit some recipes, but you tested them.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Most of them are from myself, my mother. The one we're doing today is from my mother-in-law, who she always made it, these little shrimp pizza bites every time we would come visit her. And to this day, my kids who are now 30 and 35, they always love these. They're warm and fuzzy memories for them. And, you know, what do they say, the thing about a food never forgets? You always have memories with food. And
oh, absolutely. Especially women with, you know, a good slice of lemon pie or something.
Oh.
It's a momentous occasion. Now, this book, it's small, but you can lay it flat. And also, if a kid gets fingerprints on it, you could wipe the page off. But the great thing about this is it's prep time is 20 minutes or less. And she did an entree here once before, and it came in under 20 minutes. And the amazing thing, it tasted very good.
Oh, they really are amazingly good. The hands-on prep time is 20. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to bake them, but that's time that you have for yourself. You can go do what you need to do.
So you call them munchies. And
I do.
I'm up class. I call them hors d'oeuvres.
You go, girl. That's right.
So
you're uptown, as my mama would say. So this first one we're going to do are shrimp pizza bites, and you just take a package of regular English muffins, and you separate them into two halves. Whoops, there we go. And then first thing you do is just take whatever kind of butter you like. I like the real butter because it just
me too.
So much better and so much better for you.
Isn't it amazing how they gave us margarine? I don't know, it was around the Second World War or whatever. I remember that, by the way. And told us butter was bad, and now margarine's bad, but butter's good. So
you do a thin layer of butter, and then on top of that, you do a sharp cheddar cheese spread. The brand that I get, is, I never can say that, Kakuna, but any
it's
kind
very
you like.
Hawaiian, but it comes from Wisconsin. K-A-U-K-A-U-N-A.
Old English makes a
Kakanua.
very, very nice cheese spread too. If you can find, it's a little more difficult to find. So you do another layer on top of that, and it's very simple.
Now this one's from your mother-in-law.
This is my mother-in-law's go-to for any kind of guest, because they make up so quickly and easily, and then you can serve them hot or cold. I usually serve them warm to Bible studies. Both of these are excellent for small groups, either at your house or at your church when you have to bring something. They're quick, they're easy, and they don't need refrigeration, and they don't need a lot of care. You don't need to try to zap them to get them hot right off the bat. But these are good hot or cold.
Little baby.
These are these little tiny shrimp you buy in a little can, and you put the two, I say you goo up the bread so the shrimp will stick. That's the way I see it. So then you stick the shrimp on there. There's enough, if you use the whole package of English muffins, it will be just enough shrimp to cover them all.
That would make a lot.
Oh, they make 96 pieces per recipe. There's quite a lot. Then you use seasoned salt. I like Lowry's. Sprinkle a little bit on top, and then you cover that with a little bit of garlic salt. And
you mentioned Lowry's. They should send us a donation, don't you think?
Absolutely. I'm a big Lowry's girl. I put Lowry's on everything. And
so when you put it in the oven, it kind of melts it all together?
You're done. Then you just take your serrated knife. I use a bread knife, and you cut that into first quarters and then eighths. So each little pizza bite you'll have is an eighth of a circle, and then, excuse me,
perfect finger food.
Scoop these up, and then you bake them for 5 minutes at 400, and they're all done.
Okay.
And they're delicious.
Taste test coming up.
Delicious. It's a perfect marriage of savory and salty. It's delicious. And it goes great with either like a hot coffee or hot tea, if you've got a bunch of ladies that are into that sort of thing. Or you can drink it with, sodas. That's fine too, but it's just perfect with a hot beverage.
And easy.
Easy done.
But it surprises the person when you put it in the mouth.
Oh, people all say, what is this? Because it's unusual on the, especially they always turn them over and say, what is that? It's an English muffin. Most people can't figure that out.
Oh, God bless whoever thought of English muffins.
They are fabulous.
You can use them for a lot. Now we got another one coming up.
All right, that was the savory. Then if you've got a sweet
This one is called shrimp.
Those are shrimp pizza bites.
And they're in this book.
Yep. Page 70, I believe.
I wanted to ask you, who came up with the Too Blessed to Be Stressed?
I did. It's a series, of course. The very first Too Blessed to Be Stressed book, I call it the Mama book because these are all its babies. It had a lot of offspring. It's got 42 babies now.
Yes, I had no idea that there's product out there with this name on it 42 times.
42, Too Blessed to Be Stressed. The one that just coming out is Too Blessed to Be Stressed for moms. So this is the Too Blessed to Be Stressed cookbook, but they're all under the same umbrella, and they pretty much all have the same color scheme.
Yes, you can recognize. And we're offering this one today for your gift of $20 to the show, and these recipes are in it. Okay.
All right, these are called sweethearts for those with a little sweet tooth. We're going to just zap this for 45 seconds. I think it's ready to go.
Yeah.
It's all punched in. And what we do first is I'm basically doing half a recipe here because this also makes a whole lot. And if you want to show the finished one over there, that's what they're going to look like. And they're so good.
And so pretty, so festive.
They're no bakes.
I can see those at Christmas time.
I have some pretty little Christmassy ones that I almost brought too that I do use at Christmas, and they're lovely.
What if you put a little tiny piece of a maraschino cherry?
Oh, that would be adorable. That would be adorable.
Okay, now melting a little bit the
Now these are
ones.
milk chocolate
Milk
chips
chocolate.
that we're melting. Now, you can use the semi-sweet, but
I would use dark chocolate because I'm a dark
that would be good.
chocolate-aholic.
This I'm going after the Reese cup taste, you know, with the peanut butter and chocolate. So we're using first the chocolate.
Don't you think whoever thought of peanut butter and chocolate should be canonized?
Oh, absolutely,
And
absolutely.
You can use it in so many different.
All right, so you just stir up. Usually with the chocolate, it takes about 2 minutes, and you do it with 30-second intervals and then stir. But this one we did for 45 seconds, and it's looking good to me. The next thing you want to do is pour in the peanut butter chips. And again, we're doing a half a recipe here. We're not doing a whole one.
I didn't know they did peanut butter chips. I thought those were butterscotch.
They're Reese's peanut butter chips.
Because here's some peanut butter too.
I was looking for it. And then we're going to stir in the peanut butter so we get a really great peanut butter flavor in there.
I can't wait. I'm going to try mine.
You go right ahead. I must say I've already sampled it on the way over here.
Oh, they're crunchy.
Oh, they're wonderful. And that's the corn flakes that you're tasting the crunch. You take your corn flakes and you smash them up. This is 1.5 cups, which is half of the 3 cups that's called for. Smash them up, but not real fine. And then you mix all those together. And I'm just doing this in a 4-cup measuring cup just because it's all right there together and it's easier. But you can use any microwavable bowl.
These are amazing. You said you double tested all of these?
Oh, these are quadruple tests, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. You ate all of them. Listen, friends, this girl has put together a very unusual cookbook. We'll have to have you come in and, do each recipe for us.
I would be happy to, man. There's 100 and something recipes in that book, all requiring 20 minutes or less. So then you take your little cups, you put them in your tiny little muffin tins, and you're all set.
Do you put them in the fridge or anything?
You can. They harden in about an hour if you don't put them in the fridge, but if you do put them in the fridge, they're done in 20 minutes or less. So they don't take long at all.
They are so crunchy, and if you're like me, you like crunching a lot of things. I like crunching my salads and.
I think they're awesome. And the corn flakes, do not add any sweetness to them. They're sweet enough.
No, it's not real sweet.
And
the peanut butter kind of tempers the
It does.
chocolate.
It tempers is a good word. Balances it out beautifully.
Is this one from your mother-in-law also?
No, this one I discovered myself when my kids were young and I wanted some no-bakes that I didn't have to worry about to get things quickly. You know, when they tell you 5 minutes before they have to leave for school that they're supposed to bring the snack today for 30 kids. So I needed something that I could just throw together.
Congratulations.
I pretty much did.
What about Rice Krispies?
You could use Rice Krispies. I've done both, and I prefer the corn flakes. It's just a little more pizzazz.
Very crunchy.
A little more pizzazz.
Well, they probably are a little crunchier than the Rice Krispies. Anyway, we'll send you these 2 recipes, but and that information come up on the screen, and we'd be glad to send them to you, no cost. But I do suggest that you get this book. It's just full of wonderful things, and we'll have you back once in a while just to fix a recipe if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
She doesn't live too far from here.
No.
Okay, stay with us because we're going to talk about her newest book, Too Blessed to Be Stressed for Moms. It's a good one. Stay with us.
If you would like a copy of today's recipe, you may receive it by contacting us through social media as listed on the screen. When requesting a copy through the mail, be sure to include a self-addressed stamped envelope. Thank you, and please know we always appreciate hearing from our viewers.
One of the most wonderful things about what I do is all the books that come across my desk, and it's a blessing. It is a blessing to read them, and I couldn't encourage you enough to read and keep that brain going and learning. Thank God you never get too old to learn anything. This is really an excellent book. I would suggest you think about it if you're going to a baby shower or anything like that, or this can apply to motherhood at any age, when they're little or when they're teenagers. And I want to compliment you on it and reiterate the fact that there are 42 publications under the Too Blessed to Be Stressed title. One of them, a devotional, right, that you see in airports and so forth. How many of those have been sold?
Over 300,000 of the 3-minute devotions for women. It's under the Too Blessed to Be Stressed umbrella. And they've just been such a surprise to all of us, certainly to me. And I'm just so totally in thank you, Papa God, in praise mode with that.
Well, indeed. There's a lot of well-known authors who've never sold that many of anything. So congratulations, and I know it's a wonderful blessing to those who read it. Now, why did you write one for moms?
Well, 7 years ago when the Mama book, Too Blessed to Be Stressed, came out, that was the original book. I was blessed to be asked to speak at different places. So since then, in those 7 years, I've been traveling around speaking to different women's groups. And I have noticed that there are some specific stressors that are common to women in the hood. The motherhood is what I'm referring to. And I felt very strongly that Papa God was nudging me to address those. My daughter is a young mother who has 3 kids, lives right next door. My son and his wife have a young child. And that was kind of, I was seeing again, going through it again, how stressful that time can be. And I just felt like this book, Too Blessed to Be Stressed for Moms, is me throwing out a life preserver to women who feel like they're drowning in the stress pool of life.
Yes, and I've met Bill Gaither, and I was in music for years. That was my career at the time. And they wrote a song called We Have This Moment Today. And he has re-recorded that. It's got to be over 30 years old. And the whole idea is don't miss the moment. Now, I say that because of women going through life so stressed they miss the moments of these little ones. Probably there's not a mother in the world that doesn't wish she could go back and capture some of that, you know.
Absolutely. I think you're right about that. And I think even today with all of the electronic wave that we're in, it's even worse. It's even harder on young moms. Their attention is so splintered in every direction, and they're being called on constantly, and they have a hard time. My heart goes out to them in figuring out how much attention to give to these electronic devices and how much to give to their children.
I've often thought if I were a mother of young children today, boy, there'd be some hard and fast rules on those phones. And I'd say, you break my rule, I take your phone. I just see something where they're missing a lot of life because they're doing this all the time.
So true. You go into a restaurant, of course, and they're very quiet these days because
all 4 people,
all children and teenagers are doing this, and the adults many times are too.
I flew somewhere recently for a ministry business thing, and the company paid my ticket. And the company had enough points to put me in first class. Oh, I haven't been first class for a long time, and it's a lot better than the rest of the plane, I'll say that. But I'm not kidding. There were 12 of us in first class. Every single one, except me, was not speaking to anyone. They were all on a laptop or on their phone. And
wow,
I don't think that's healthy.
No,
I had a book.
It's true, and it's happening to our young people too, to the very youngsters. If you go anywhere, you notice many times moms are handing their phones to the little babies, to the toddlers, to keep them quiet. And I address that in the book, and I talk about how that can actually hurt development of children, not only in social aspect, but also in spiritual, in physical, in the emotional aspects of the developmental phases that they have to go through. And if we arrest that development by plugging them into electronics at such an early age, we have problems later. We have a whole generation coming up of children who don't know how to socialize correctly. They don't know how to live within their thoughts. They don't know how to think things through to come up with their own beliefs. They don't really know how to do good manners. There's so many things they're not getting.
Well, they're not being socialized.
Correct.
At all.
And I talk about some different ways we can add socialization intentionally into their schedules and into their lives?
I believe that the woman is the heart of the home, the emotional kind of foundation. And I used to tell women, you can send your children, your husband out in victory in the morning. It all depends on how mama, what her mood is. And you've heard it said, if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy.
Absolutely.
And I tried to get that across to women, to think differently in the morning when they're all about to leave for their various activities or whatever. I think that woman can set things up, because if this is all they're doing, they're missing even these emotionally important times.
Oh, that's so true. I know my daughter, with her 3 kids, they have found some marvelous, and I really didn't know these were out there until she started looking for them, but little devotionals that are age appropriate for all different ages, that are very brief, that are written to do at the breakfast table. And she does these every morning, and it starts everybody out looking at the Lord and thinking about the Lord. And they're only about a minute to 2 minutes each, and they're wonderful. They listen while they're chewing, and they're
no electronics at the table.
No, not in my daughter's house.
No, I don't think there should be in anybody's house, really, not at all.
Yeah.
And motherhood's no place for wimps.
No.
You have to take your authority. I look back, because I've got 8 great-grandchildren now, and I don't have a lot of sympathy in that my mother hung the clothes on the line, and then she starched them, and then women have conveniences now. Why do they complain?
Oh, we always are going to complain, Arthelene. You know how that goes. But
I'm a pie-in-the-sky optimist.
You make a great point. You make a great point. Somehow the conveniences turn around and bite us in the rear, and we actually have to end up fighting the conveniences in order to get back to where we would have been without them. But in many ways. But something you said rang a bell. One of the things I mentioned in the book are the 4 different parenting styles that psychologists have identified.
Oh, let us have them.
And they're very interesting, because we do this. I added animals to them because I can remember them better when we associate them with animals. But the first one is the authoritative style, which is the polar bear. You know, in their polar bear world, daddies are a one-night stand, although hopefully they're not that way in the human counterparts. But this is the mom who gives lots of bear hugs. That's where that term came from. But she's firm, and she sets rules and expects her children to do the appropriate behavior, or they get cuffed upside the head.
Long live the polar bear.
There you go.
Okay, who's else?
And then the next one is the next few are sad, but I know that I myself have done, and I've seen other parents do them a lot. The next one is permissive, which is the let's see, the black eagle. And the black eagle, she will have everything she needs, her baby's needs. She provides the shelter and the food, but then she does not make any rules.
She's out of there.
And she sits back, and
this.
she lets them literally fight to the death in front of her. Her babies will get into squabbles, and she doesn't intervene. And the human counterpart would be the one who wants to be their friend, not their parent. And these kids grow up with no limits and, you know, very poor self-esteem. Then you have the ones that don't really trust adults. Then you have the let's see, what are they? I want to say otters, but they're seals, harp seals. And the harp seal abandons their baby after 2 weeks. The mom has the baby, leaves them on the ice, and she's out of there. Flippers in the air, going to the bar, looking for the mate. And those babies have to learn to fish and swim and take care of themselves at a very young age, 2 weeks of age. So 30% of harp seal babies die, pups they're called. And you know, these are the ones that grow up with abandonment issues.
Did you have one more?
Yes.
Okay, who's that?
The last one would be the orangutan, which is the hover mom, the original helicopter mom.
Helicopter mom.
Who is obsessive and hovers over those babies for far too long. She keeps those babies with her way, way, way longer than any other animal. And watches everything, that doesn't let them make their own decisions, black and white, everything. And the human counterpart, of course, would be the one that says, You do it because I said so, and that's
Oh, I
it.
did a little of that, too.
I do too. I think we all do. So it doesn't mean to say that you are exactly one of those, but usually there's a combination, like I'm an orangutan, you know, or a combination of two or more of those traits. But it's interesting to see that there are certain traits and to see where we fall in that.
Yeah, and let me remind you, before we're completely out of time, all of this information she's talking about is in this Too Blessed to Be Stressed for Moms. And just what she's told us tells you how rich this book is. And we've had her website up. You can go there, and I'm sure that you could get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble,
Sure.
all of those really good places. We're not going to get to everything, so we'll have to come back, because she doesn't live far from here.
No,
yeah,
I'm right down the road.
Do you think so many moms are really shocked and surprised? I did a lot of babysitting, and my aunt and uncle had a farm that I was on several weeks out of the summer, and she had babies. She had 3 babies in a row, and so I knew how to take care of babies. What about a mother that's never done that?
Oh, sure. And I think they tend to isolate themselves too, which they need to do the opposite. These days with everybody's working so many hours and so long, and the husband's coming and going, and they're missing each other, and you tend to just be work with the home and that work, and you isolate yourself. And what we really need is to join forces with other moms. And I think that's very important for young moms, that camaraderie, and to share ideas and to learn how people do things, not just with books, but the human interaction, because we need to then do the same human interaction with our little guys, you know? And I think that you can have play dates, and there's just all kinds of great ideas that I tried to include in the book that I think would be very helpful to moms.
Well, it is. It's a small book, but I'm telling you, it is packed full of really good material, as you've heard on this show. And we didn't get to the good biblical moms or the bad biblical moms. So will you come back real soon?
Oh, I'd
we'll
love
work it out. And will you cook for us again?
I'd love to.
That recipe book is just really different. I mentioned I should take a picture someday of all the recipe books in my office, but I highly recommend that, because I know that a lot of you are working moms, and she's put these recipes together that you can do in 20 minutes or less, and to have such rich information for moms. This is just great. I'm glad that God put her close to us here so she could come over and be on the program from time to time. And God is really using her in a wonderful way, and I'm glad that we can share her great talent with you. But we are out of time, so join me next time, remembering there's no higher calling than that of a homekeeper. God bless you.
If you should miss a Homekeepers program, you can catch up by going to www.ctnonline.com. Click on CTN Programs and then on Homekeepers.